Hi there, my name is Kathleen Siminyu. I'm a machine learning fellow at Mozilla Foundation working on a project known as Common Voice. My research work on this project is focused on building speech recognition tools and datasets for Kiswahili. And broadly, my research interests lie in building language tools for low-resource African languages. My topic for today is community building for Kiswahili automatic speech recognition. And in this work, I'll be taking an exploratory analysis of the dataset for Kiswahili that we have on Common Voice and tying this in with the community engagement activities that we have undertaken in the efforts to build this dataset. So what is Common Voice? Common Voice is a platform to build speech recognition datasets. It's open and datasets are generally crowdsourced. We encourage communities, initiatives, and organizations to self-organize and build language datasets for whether it's the languages they speak, those that the communities around them speak, or those that they care about. And we think this work is important because historically, speech recognition advancements have been led by private companies whose datasets and tools are proprietary and therefore not open to the public for evaluation or interpretation. We think that this limits the advancements in the field and therefore hope that the existence of this platform means that more communities can self-organize and that speech recognition technology can be further democratized. In terms of features, there's 4 main features that the platform provides, which I'm going to highlight. The first is the ability to add or create sentences for the respective language on the platform. And the second is the ability to validate these sentences. Third is the ability to record one's voice as they speak. Typically, you'll come to the platform, be served with one sentence from the underlying text or the already existing text for the language, and then you'd read out this sentence and record yourself while doing it. And finally is the ability to validate already existing audios on the platform. There are many language datasets which are hosted on the Common Voice platform. My work and the focus of this presentation is going to be in Kiswahili. This is work that has been ongoing for the past 2 years. So we began in June of 2021, and we had certain goals set out, one of them being to get to between 1,000 and 2,000 hours of data. The rationale for this number being that this would certainly be enough data to build good speech recognition systems with. This is work that is funded by GIZ, which is the German Development Agency, by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and by the UK Development Corporation. So with this first chart, I show that we have a 1-to-7 ratio of sentences to clips. Again, you remember that first sentences have to be uploaded onto the platform and then individuals come and record themselves reading out these sentences. So we definitely have way more clips than sentences or significantly less sentences. And there's several reasons why this is, there's several potential reasons for this. One being that because the entirety of the dataset has to be open, the underlying sentences also have to be free of IP or copyrights. And it has been significantly difficult to access such texts. So we've had to be creative about creating platforms and collaborating with writers or students of Kiswahili literature and language to create such text. It potentially also speaks to a preference of our community to read out or record their voices as opposed to creating texts. But then in terms of implications for developers, we'd suggest that they be critical about how they use the data, because the 1-to-7 ratio can imply a lot of repetition. So it's worth considering some data augmentation to ensure that the data is being utilized well. Next chart is displaying our validation rate. We have approximately 50% validation of the data set. So this is the two bars in the middle, the validated and the invalidated. This is an important metric to track because it speaks to the usability of the data set. It's the assurance that we're able to give developers or researchers who come and use the data set. Out of the box, the way the Common Voice platform creates experimental splits is by only using the validated data. So the validation rate also speaks to the usability of the data set. And in our case, essentially 50% of the work that we have done cannot be used yet. So we are working on kicking up our validation efforts. Next, I'll speak to the gender distribution of contributors. First, you'll note that 50% of our contributors did not share with us their personal information. This is actually a feature of the platform. It is optional to create a profile, and it is optional to provide us with your personal details. We do this out of the box because we would like individuals who have any reservations about sharing this information with us to still contribute their data. Another reason for this 50% margin is possibly because we collect a lot of data at events where a booth is set up. And people will typically be walking through an exhibition area, and we have the opportunity to speak to them about Common Voice and perhaps have them contribute 5 clips and encourage them to go home and continue the work if this is a mission that they are interested in. Then additionally, for the contributors that did give us their information, we have an almost 50-50 split between the men and the women. And this is something that we're very proud of because we've been very intentional about it since the beginning. So from speech recognition literature, we learned that it is more likely to build systems that have better performance for men than for women. And this is due to imbalances in the data set. So we have been very intentional about including women at every stage of the process. Next, I'll speak to the age distribution of contributors. Again, there's the approximately 50% who did not share their information with us. And for those that did, you'll see that an overwhelming majority lies in their 20s. So there are many reasons, or many potential reasons for this. From speech recognition literature, again, we learned that such systems and therefore such data sets are more likely to perform better for younger people as a result of the constitution of the data set. It may also be that in our work in particular, we did a lot of partnerships with universities and tech hubs, and generally the age groups of individuals at these institutions is on the younger side. So one of the implications of this as a constitution of our data set is just the fact that any downstream applications are likely to be biased and have better performance on younger populations. And so the recommendation for any researchers or developers using this data is to ensure and be intentional about evaluating their models and their work on a better distributed test set and potentially do some fine-tuning to make up for the difference, if any. Finally, I would like to encourage you all, if you're interested in speech recognition, to check out and consider the Common Voice platform for your work. If the language does not already exist, there's loads of resources and links to documentation on this slide that can walk you through the process of beginning to localize the site, collect sentences, and then move on to the creation of the data set. And I hope that this slide deck will be shared for you to have access to all of this. That brings me to the end. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your WIDs.